Nella puntata speciale di Al Caffè Letterario abbiamo come ospite Siri Jacobsen, scrittrice danese originaria delle isole Faroe, con la quale parleremo in inglese. We talk with Siri Jacobsen in English this time. Hello, Miss or Mrs. Jacobsen.
Hello.
You are now a famous writer in Denmark. You are born, you received this invitation from Chiassotv.ch because you are well known. I read your two books, they're very well, but I will demand you, my first question is, in your first book, The Island, you describe these incredible islands of Faroe, and those islands are the origin of your family, but you were born in Denmark. How is this relation also in the book between Faroe and Denmark for you?
Well, I was born in Denmark, in Copenhagen, and my mother was born in Denmark too. But her parents, my grandparents, and most of my family still live in the Faroe Islands. Well, my grandparents passed away, but they are Faroese. And in the book as well, it's the same kind of relation between a young woman who has grown up in Denmark, in Copenhagen, but her family, her history is in the Faroe Islands. So she travels back to sort of rediscover it.
Yes, and this is a little also your biography you made like this, yes?
Yes. Well, no, the book is not a biography, but it has similarities to my life.
Yes, it's like so. And in your books, in the book Island, I think there are 3 generations of the family. How the relations have changed in these 3 generations? What is changed between Faroe? In an interview that I read in an Italian newspaper, you said also that you hope a Scandinavian United Nations and things like this. It's a lot of change because Faroe was a Denmark dominion. It is in the moment also like this, or it's something changed?
It is still to a certain extent under Danish dominion. It has the Faroe Islands governs its own internal politics, but shares external politics, international politics with Denmark, like Greenland. Saying that I want a united nation of Scandinavian countries is, of course, an ideal or a dream, and a little bit crazy. But what I'm saying by that is that I think it would be interesting to think about new constellations other than the nation states that we already know. The Faroe Islands is, of course, a very small country. It's a population of 50,000 people. And the country doesn't have industry necessarily to sustain itself. So by joining in a different constellation with other countries, it might be able to regain security and freedom while still retaining sort of pride and identity. Does that make sense?
Sure. Well, perhaps it's not a lot of economics, but it's a strategical point, no, in the North Sea. And you describe it very well also in the Second World War, that the Englishmen come on the island and also they share with the local people. No? It was a turning point also for Faroe, I think.
Yes. Yes, and there is an argument, some Faroese have the argument that now, as the ice is melting and that part of the sea is opening up more for trade and for travel, the Faroe Islands will again become sort of a strategic point.
But
So
the
that's
book is
also,
principally about the family, about this family in 3 generations. It's very interesting. How are the Faroe people for a Denmark girl like you? Okay, you are originally from the island, you know something, but the first time you arrived on Faroe, what do you see? What was your feeling?
oh, well, for me, and that's the difference between me and the character in the novel. I don't remember the first time I came to the Faroe Islands because I've been there often my entire life. I was a very small child. But I will tell you one very big difference between the Faroe Islands and Denmark is that in the Faroe Islands, family is a different thing. In the Faroe Islands, when you have, your third, fourth cousin, a cousin fourth removed, they say, oh, that's close family. Families are bigger in the Faroe Islands. In Denmark, we have, more modern nuclear families, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So that's a different experience. When I go to the Faroe Islands, there is always a lot of people that I'm related to that I don't know the names of.
Sure. And the relation between Faroe Islands and the sea, it's very close. No,
Yes.
what can you see about it in the novel? We can read it very well.
Well, of course, the Faroe Islands is a seafaring nation, almost exclusively to the point where, in my grandfather's generation, for example, pretty much every Faroese man worked with or on the sea. Of course, there were some teachers and some traders, but the sea was the main source of income and the main source of life, and also the main source of death. So in that sense, it is a very intimate relationship with the sea.
One of your characters of the book, Fritz, if I'm right, didn't want indeed to work on the sea, and because of this he came perhaps in Denmark, no?
Yes, exactly. And that is modeled on, that character is not my grandfather. Of course, my grandfather was his own man, but that particular point was also my grandfather's. He did not like to sail. He was a neat man, he liked to brush his teeth and he liked to do his hair. And if you are on a fishing boat in the North Sea for 6 months, there is no water for the toothbrush. So that was not the life he wanted. He wanted, of course, also more opportunities and a bigger horizon. So he migrated to Denmark.
Yes. In your second novel, Lettera fra i due mari in Italian, I translate it in English, letters between the two seas. Mm-hmm. Oh, yes. You talk indeed about the relation between seas, the Mediterranean Sea and the Atlantic Ocean. Mm-hmm. These seas are described like the total builder of all the things of the on the earth, and yes. Mankind it's in their hands. How you had this a little bit also ecological idea that is very well.
Well, it is a little bit based on science in the sense that we are all sort of descendants of the sea. All or most mammals came from the sea, and it's also sort of inspired by the idea of trying to create an alternative myth of creation.
Yes. Sure, it's biological that the sea are yes. at the beginning in life, but it's very well described this relation of the little Mediterranean Sea and the great ocean. Mediterranean Sea is not so little, but the Mediterranean Sea has another type of relation with mankind, no?
Yes. Well, in the book, the Mediterranean Sea is small. Of course, it's not in real life, but compared to the Atlantic, it is. It's small and it's young. It's almost a teenager, but it is the bravest of the two seas. It has the courage to be curious, and it has the courage to form relationships with beings that are unlike her. Well, I say it, but in the book it's a female sea. So unlike her sister, the Atlantic, the Mediterranean is curious about humankind and forms an attachment and becomes fascinated, and also very importantly sort of takes pity on humanity.
Yes, yes. Siri Jacobsen, thank you very much for this interview on Al Caffè Letterario of Chiasso TV, and we will see in Chiasso perhaps next week. Thank you.
I look forward to it. Thank you.
Yeah.